Hello Internet, Andrew here, how you going? Hope you're well. Alright, I'm just going to do this video, just a very raw, uncut, one take video, and it's just something I've been thinking about for a little while with my car. So, just a little background, I have a 2010 VE sports wagon. We actually have two of them, my wife and I, we have one each. And I've owned mine for about 5 years. And my wife's, we've had about six and a half, that's around that, 6.5, 7 years. So, yeah, they've been pretty good cars. I've gotten to know them a little bit more as the years went on. And I do my own servicing, except if it's something major, but most of the things I've been trying to do myself, and you can check out some of my other videos. I'll link the playlist below. But look, the thing is, this car, the VE Commodore 2010 City, and I do believe a whole bunch of other 3 litre and the 3.6 litre Commodores around this sort of era, they have a inherent engine flaw, and that is the timing chain. So Holden, in their wisdom, GM, have continued to make these cars with a timing chain rather than a timing belt. And, you know, in theory, that's a good idea because, you know, timing chains are supposed to last quite a long time. But there has been something, I don't know what it is. I think the chain manufacturer has made these chains that stretch, and it throws the sensor very quickly. And there's been a whole bunch of Commodores that have had the timing chain warning come on really early, around 80,000 kilometers. There is another thought that the engine tends to overheat a little bit. There's not enough top end venting or something like that. I think I saw a video about that not long ago. So, you know, that's a thing. It doesn't matter why it's happening. It is a thing. And at the moment, my wife's car is throwing this exact warning to do with the timing chain, and it comes as the left banks or the right banks. It's one of those warnings. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. All right, the reason I'm making this video is just to let you know a little bit about our situation, because I made a decision a couple of months ago now, is that we are going to keep running these cars until they run to the ground, which means that unless something significant breaks, we are going to keep using these cars. Like, we're not made of money. And at the moment, these cars are going to be it. So just a bit of an update. So my wife's car, I think, roughly has 230,000 kilometers, and mine is just sticking on around 200,000. Mine hasn't thrown the error, but my wife's has. So I'm having a bit of a thought that, I've seen a video about how these timing chains loosen up, and you know, when we talk about loosening timing chains, it moves, like literally moves like a tiny amount. It's just a slight. I can see the mechanics like wobbling the chain before they replace it with the new one, and it's a tiny little change. And what makes me think is that, and this is just me, like I'm not a mechanic, but what I'm thinking is this error is being thrown in the car, this warning error, because the sensor is really like over the top. Like it's must run on really tight clearances, and it's thrown the error. So I have a feeling that the timing chain maybe stretches a little bit, and then it'll just stay at that point. And the reason I'm thinking that this sensor is doing this, and then another reason, is because my wife's car doesn't always throw the error. It only does it when the car, for whatever reason, when the car seems to be on a slight lean when it's stopped. So if it just stops on a hill, forwards or backwards, it then throws the error. And I think that's because that's where the sensor kind of is. Now, I could be wrong. I've got no idea. I'm not a mechanic. But I just thought, you know, I'm going to keep running the car, and then hopefully, you know, we'll see how far it goes. So it started roughly about 20,000 Ks ago on my wife's car, where this error kept being, kept coming up, and you know, it clears sometimes, and then sometimes we use the the diagnostic tool thingy to clear it ourselves. But it keeps coming back, but not all the time, just sometimes. And so I'm going to share with you as I track what happens with our car. So at the moment, so this is just for a reference, it is now April, start of April 2020. We're in the midst of Corona, and the cars are still going fine. So it throws the error, but apart from that, the cars are fine. There's nothing really wrong with either of our cars. So especially not in the engine bay to do with the timing chain. Some things I have read, maybe the fuel efficiency is supposed to be a little bit worse off. I don't think it is in my wife's car. I think this car, which hasn't thrown the error, is probably less fuel efficient than my wife's car. Her car seems to run a lot more smoother than my car, and again, no error on my car. She's got an error come up on hers. So yeah, it's just one of those situations. So I'm going to try to keep you updated as I go along, and then hopefully, we'll get to a bit of a bottom of whether it's just a sensor that's being really over pedantic, if I can say that, about a sensor, or if it's something that is really serious and our car's going to blow up. So like I said, at the moment, 230,000 on her car, around 200,000 on my car, and yeah, so that's where we're at. So what I would also like is if you've had an issue with your timing chain and you have done the same thing and have left it like I have, and your car carked it, please let me know, because that would be really useful information. But I can't find anything on the internet of anyone who's had this 3-litre city or the 3.6 litre city and has had the timing chain destroy their engine. I have not heard of one yet. I'm sure there are people out there, but I personally have not heard one, and I can't see any in the forums either. So if it's happened to you, please let me know. That'd be great. What else? Oh yes, and one other thing I'm going to say is, based on the research I have done about this car, I'm now going to make sure that I do oil changes every maximum 7,500 Ks. I'm not going to go to 10 or 15. I have gone to 15,000 Ks in the past, but Scotty Kilmer has persuaded me to keep changing the oil. This is not a big job. It's probably half an hour job, if that. It's not very labor intensive. I can do them really quickly now. So changing the oil and filter more frequently might prolong the life of the car. So just a little side note there. Anyway, that's about it. So yeah, stay tuned. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I would love for you to subscribe. Subscribe, please. I think buttons down here for most of you. That'll be awesome. And I will keep you informed to see how these Holdens hold up. Bit of a pun there.